want to talk about Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis. If Mayweather and Ellaby are totally out the picture, I think Gervonta could struggle a little to handle the outside the ring shit and some of the inside the ring stuff. I don't think he's as confident as he makes out without their watchful eyes. I don't think he is. Was it the Ryan Garcia fight where, he had left? Or maybe the Hector Garcia, I can't remember. And then he wanted to go back to the gym and then he started crying, Floyd won't let me in the gym, he won't let me in the gym. Dude, you can train in any gym in America. Why you need to go back there? Because it's a crutch. He's 29-0, 27 inside the distance. He's won titles, mainly baby belts, from 130 to 140. Never unified a strap in his life. He knows deep down that he's got the jump on a lot of fighters. With Floyd's influence and the amount of politics that Al Heyman, more than Floyd, I'm guessing, has spun for him in his ascension to becoming a pay-per-view fighter. But it looks now like he's got to handle all the duties that the TMT were handling, especially the PR and stuff. Not a very articulate kid. It's just what it is. Like, he's like a bull in the china shop, basically. Like, how he's got involved in Ryan and Devin's back and forths post-fight is baffling. And his allegations against the likes of Eddie Hearn corrupting Ryan's tests is nothing less than reckless. And he's lucky that Eddie Hearn seems a bit scared of Americans at times. Like, throw a lawsuit on the guy. If Eddie was to say half the stuff that people in the industry say about him, they'd be threatening lawsuits. It's hard to know if Gervonta is trying to promote this Frank Martin fight or if he's just out of control. It's hard to know. I saw the story the other day. I didn't probe into it because there's only so much toxicity I can take. But then he pulled up on Devin at some event the other day. Pulled up. He shouldn't be involved in Ryan and Devin's beef. I don't know the full story about Tank and Floyd's daughter. And then, Ryan, a man who has children, blowing up that Gervonta Davis did whatever with Floyd's daughter. Tank was apparently DMing emails back and forth with Mayweather about his daughter. That's crazy. And it's not just Tank, but you can see the self-destruction button activated for a lot of these fighters right now. I think Floyd knows his daughter better than I do or anyone else. And he knows women. She might be his daughter. She might always be his little girl. But she's no angel. So, unless it was a case that a man was actually abusing her, then you step in. But you just got to let her do what she's doing. Floyd made all that money for his daughter to have a child with who she had a child with. It says a lot. She's young. She'll likely grow up. Women normally grow out of that rebellious phase and grow up. Whereas men often stay stuck in some bullshit for way too long. I don't want to predict that Tank self-destructs. I don't want to do that, but the immediate and long-term future doesn't look positive to me. And, Claressa Shields, she has no business playing around in the men's playground. It's not fair for a start because a woman playing in the men's playground, she can say a lot of shit. And as soon as the dudes say anything back, oh, you can't say that to a woman, when she's been acting like a man for how long? Saying she can beat men, and Tank calls her a couple of names. And all of a sudden, oh, you can't say that, Tank, or you can't say... When she said a lot of stuff about men and women. She pushed Alicia Baumgardner. Okay, they're going back and forth. Alicia didn't put no hands on her. She pushed her. Tank called her a few names. So what? She called him some names back. So what? Why are the Claressa police talking about you can't do that to a woman? How you say that about a woman's looks? Pardon? Claressa can look after herself in a war of words. She doesn't need the SP. The Simp Protection Brigade. She doesn't need them. You play in the men's playground when men are basically restricted. Morally, legally, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, just take it. Just let her box you in your face and spit in your face while she's cursing you out. Well, that's not right, because what does she call Gervonta? Midget, a faggot, can't fight, cherry picker, and a lot of other stuff. So let's say if that was Shakur Stevenson or Devin who said that now. The next time they see each other at a live event, it could go off, and it might not even be Gervonta. It might be one of his homeboys. Say, yo, you call my man a homo? You calling my man out of his manhood? It would go off. It would go off. Go off, then go off. Because that's how men deal with shit. There's consequences when we say stuff to each other like that. Inflammatory dialogue, there's consequences. But with women who jump into the men's battlefield, men are expected to dial it back. I'm not saying women can't discuss boxing. There's knowledgeable, enthusiastic women who like talking boxing. I mean, when Claressa was doing commentary the other day, she was actually okay when she wasn't being extremely biased to Richardson Hitchens when he fought Lemus. She was doing some good work. You could talk boxing. But, like, I'm talking about, like, why are you going to get in the cesspit of a discussion with someone like Tank Davis when there's no need? You know? If this was in the hood, do you think she'd be talking to Tank like that? No, I don't think she would. I don't believe she would. But she knows on social media there's a certain level of protection she gets that she wouldn't get in the hood. Tell you what though, she was smart enough not to ask Gervonta to glove up like she did Keith Thurman. She was smart enough not to do that. So she hasn't totally lost it.
Anybody else that he's been in with, he doesn't batter them. He doesn't outbox anybody cleanly. I mean, he does a lot of things, but I think a lot of what he does is quite predictable if you know what you're looking at.
I mean, you know, it was, what was it, a couple of fights ago, the Dillian White knockout. I mean, that was spectacular. He landed that uppercut.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're talking about Dillian White. I don't think Dillian White is same level as AJ. Not for me personally. Do you see what I mean? And they know each other. They're like friends almost. Do you see what I mean? So he went into that fight full of confidence. He was always going to get him at some point. I think that fight kind of maybe flattered him a little bit.
That's two former British world champions who it seems are either not convinced that Tyson Fury is as good as he says or as some of his headlines suggest. And they believe Usyk is going to win this fight. You know, Duke McKenzie is a freeweight world champion, flyweight, bantamweight, and junior featherweight. George Groves, former WBA super middleweight champion, he says Usyk is a lot better than Fury in terms of boxing.
Yeah, I still think Usyk beats him. I think, you know, the argument is a good big un beats a good little un, but I think Usyk is an exceptional fighter. I think in terms of their boxing ability, like, Usyk is a lot better.
I guess I understand the argument. Let's say with Joshua versus Otto Wallin. He sparred him previously. He's fought him a couple of times, so he's got the heads up on Otto Wallin. And Duke made the same argument with Tyson Fury beating Dillian White, that he sparred with him a number of times, so the win flattered Tyson Fury. The argument is, if you were beating him up in sparring, then it's just going to continue into the fight. There are exceptions. I see Carl the Truth Williams, and this was in the 80s on ITV, in a brief sparring clip he had with Mike Tyson, and he was giving Mike the hands. He was giving Mike the hands, bro. And when they fought in the pros, Mike defending his undisputed titles, he didn't get past the first round. And as for picking an opponent you've beat before, well, it can work the other way around. Henry Tillman beat Mike Tyson twice in the Olympic trials in the 80s, and when they fought in the pros, Tillman didn't get past the first round. In defense of Tyson Fury and Duke's argument that the Dillian White fight flattered him because they had sparred numerous rounds previously, well, he didn't pick Dillian. He was mandated by the WBC to fight Tyson Fury. That was his first fight back after the Wilder trilogy, which ended in 2021. But after the Dillian White fight, let's keep it real, picking Derek Chisora, who he had previously beat twice, was a voluntary that suggested that Tyson was either bored of boxing but wanted the purses from boxing, or the Wilder fights had taken more out of him than most of us knew. And then taking on Francis Ngannou last year and winning a split decision, having to come off the canvas. I am just not buying the people who explain it away that he didn't take him serious. I'm just not buying that. One bit. Not buying it at all. I'm not saying that to say if he can't beat Ngannou, then he can't beat Usyk. That makes no sense. The only common opponent between the two is Derek Chisora. Some people believe that Chisora was at least good for a draw when he fought Usyk. The first Fury-Derek Chisora fight was a competitive fight. That was in 2011. But Tyson's improved since then. Tyson often brings up how Usyk struggled with Derek Chisora, but that fight was in 2020. He's beat Anthony Joshua twice since then and Daniel Dubois. who recently has put a little respect on his name as a heavyweight contender. That might all change after he fights Agovic, but that's where things stand right now. There are no experts in weighing this up. There are no experts. There are some people who may break it down and predict the outcome near accurate, but they won't do that on every fight they break down. That's the truth. There are no experts on this because there are too many moving parts. We can look at their performances against the common opponent, Derek Chisora. Well, the first fight that Tyson had with Derek was a tough fight. The fight that Usyk had with Chisora was his second as a pro at heavyweight. Yes, he fought heavyweights in the WBS and as an amateur, but this is pro boxing. If that's the case, Usyk didn't look $1 million against Chaz Witherspoon, did he? When he beat Anthony Joshua, a lot of people said Anthony Joshua wasn't that good. Look what Andy Ruiz did to him. And then you look at Anthony Joshua's form in his last two. A lot of people would argue that makes Usyk's wins over Joshua appreciate more and bolster Usyk's resume as a result. Then we look at Fury's common opponents with AJ. 5 common opponents, of which Fury's only stopped 1. AJ stopped all of them. The last one being Francis Ngannou. The other was Otto Wallin. And I have a source, very credible source. Otto said he's changed his mind about how a Joshua-Fury fight could go, saying it's much closer now in his mind. But off camera, he told my source that the speed and power differential between AJ and Fury is on a different level, verbatim. A lot of people are talking about the demise of Tyson Fury. His legs have gone, Ngannou floored him. Usyk didn't distinguish himself with the low blow controversy against Daniel Dubois, where he needed at least 5 minutes, a lot of which he spent on the canvas to recover. Was there a little thespian theatrics about how he conducted himself? A lot of people are saying, well, all Tyson Fury has to do is whack him to the body and the fight is his. But is that the case? Is it as simple as that? Can Usyk look at Fury and AJ's common opponents and say, well, AJ destroyed Ngannou, AJ destroyed Wallin, Fury struggled with them both, and I've beat AJ twice. Fury's easy work? No. Because if you want to go there, to say that Usyk's beat AJ, but look what AJ done to Fury's common opponents, you could argue that AJ's fighting better now than when he was fighting Usyk. You could say that, because it's theory. Theory is theory until it's proven into something tangible. You see, the triangle theories is good for a YouTube channel like mine or a media outlet and how we're going to weigh up the fight. But it's useless to Olexandr Usyk. It's totally useless. Because fights are not won on triangle theories. Fights are won in the training camp. All Fury's previous accolades don't really mean much, and the same goes for Olexandr Usyk. Doesn't really mean much. This is for the undisputed heavyweight title, 4-belt era. There's a lot at stake here. Tyson 35, Usyk 37. Usyk has only had 4 fights since 2019. 1 fight a year. Fury's had 6. Who's been the more consistent with their training regime in the last 5 years? Who's preserved their body better? I'm guessing if I held a poll for that question, Usyk would hold an overwhelming majority. Who's the more versatile out of the two? Fury changed his style the following 2 Wilder fights, and it worked. It worked exceptionally well in the second one. In the third one, it worked. But in my opinion, that third fight in 2021 has done irreparable damage to Tyson Fury. And he could win on May the 18th. He could win. Because like I said, it's all about who gets it right on the night. But as for his long-term career as a heavyweight, I'm really not so sure. The body shot is there. The right hand to the body is there for Tyson Fury. Because Daniel hurt him a couple more times with that right hand after the low blow controversy. But here's the thing. Fury's got an 85-inch reach. Daniel's reach is in the high 70s. Daniel's combinations from mid-range are more explosive from that same distance with Tyson Fury with them long arms. Tyson is more effective from long range, coming with that feint, then that double jab, and then whatever comes off that, comes off that. Unless he hurts Usyk, wears him down, he might be ill-advised to go to the body early, because if he has to crouch with his 6'6" 7, 8 frame to land that shot. He'll get countered. Dubois' center of gravity makes it harder for Usyk to counter that shot. Can Tyson Fury throw them body shots at Usyk and not leave himself exposed? Against Deontay Wilder, he got inside and roughed him up close and hit him with them clubbing shots behind the head. Now, if he can get Usyk in that posture there, if he has the ability to do that, it could become interesting. How versatile is Usyk? Well, he was very aggressive against Daniel Dubois. Very aggressive. And Ben Davison, Hatman covered it, was saying it's a bit of a misconception, but Usyk is very aggressive in there. He's not some, I don't want to get hit type. He'll be right there in front of you, throwing his jab and timing your jab. And when he's throwing his jab, he's leaning his head to the left, anticipating the counter. And he throws them little spiteful shots when he's on the front foot, most of which you don't see. And he was more aggressive with Dubois than he was with Joshua. How aggressive is he going to be with Tyson Fury? How aggressive is Fury going to try and be with Usyk? Usyk is the cleaner puncher. And if Fury tries to get aggressive with that eye, Usyk is going to burst open the eye. He will burst it open. So how does Fury go about tackling Usyk? Another thing is like, Usyk didn't like Chisora's style. He didn't like Chisora's style. Derek draped himself in that white paint at the weigh-in and told Usyk, let's go. You know, in the second fight that Usyk had with AJ, Chisora said, AJ's got to stop worrying about getting knocked out. Go in there and try and fuck this guy up. Usyk picked it up in the late rounds against Chisora. And someone said Tyson Fury had a poor gas tank. No, Tyson Fury has a good gas tank for a 6'8" heavyweight. He has a pretty good gas tank. But you won't be able to rely on that in this fight because Usyk's championship round grandstand finishes are fucking scary. Someone pointed out the other day, if you watch Usyk box, Usyk doesn't look for the clinch like that. He doesn't really look for the clinch, which means you've got to stay in your P's and Q's all the time because if he's not punching, he's always looking for where his next combination or shot is going to land. That's something he has in common with Lomachenko. If Lomachenko ain't punching, he's putting his body at all these different angles on where he's going to attack you next. And let me just sum it up. Don't want to long it out too long. Fury has to find a way to slow Usyk up. Whether that's tying him up to slow the pace of the bout, leaning all over him, whatever it takes. He's got to slow Usyk up. Because if they're just trading hand skills from mid-range and even long range, despite Fury's long reach, there's a good chance Fury comes off second. Fury can't worry if it's a pretty fight or people say, oh, that was boring. He can't worry about that because the track record, the resume of Usyk suggests that conventional boxing or throwing conventional punches does what? Plays into his hands. So this is what I'm saying. Like, their past accolades mean nothing. Tyson Fury's got to come with something that perhaps we didn't see he could bring and something Alexander's not expecting. AJ and Dubois, they stood off more than Derek Chisora did. And Usyk didn't like that. He didn't like it. Gassiev tried to box more than Derek did. Derek just went in there trying to trap him in the corners, get to his body and work away. Bellew boxed well early, but it caught up with him. I don't think Fury can just rush in there. I think Fury has to make it a little technical. I think this could actually be a boring fight with so much on the line of both men not wanting to lose. And I think where the styles make fights thing comes into play for me is I believe Fury can make it more awkward than Anthony Joshua did for Usyk. And I believe that's his only chance of winning the fight. I think the fight will be decided in the championship rounds, 10, 11, 12, unless Fury is stopped via cut right eye. Fury's dilemma is he needs a bit of everything, doesn't he? He needs some of that physical presence he used to beat Wilder, where he switched up, came in heavier. He needs some of that, but he also needs the lighter version of Fury, where he could move and throw all them feints like he did in the first fight with Wilder. But life doesn't allow us everything. Often, in what you gain in your life may result in a loss somewhere else, in another aspect of your life. They're saying Fury is in better shape than he was against Ngannou. What does that mean? That he's lighter? when old fighters, heavyweights, come in light, people get excited saying, oh, look, he's in shape. He's in aesthetic shape. But we'll have to see when he gets in the ring what kind of shape he really is in. I think the Wilder fights, the Francis Ngannou fight especially, I think the rumoured issues Fury had in his last camp, which led to his eye getting cut and the fight being postponed, and Usyk being as gifted as he is getting Fury at the right time. The lack of discipline with diet and perhaps the bipolar issues he's said to have could have just caught him up. Fury will do his best to get himself together, and we may see an improved version of Fury from what we saw against Ngannou. We may see that, but will it be enough to beat Usyk? I have my doubts. Olexandr Usyk might just pull this one off, people. Might just pull this one off. And with that,
I'm gone. Ghost, peace, sayonara.
That sound right.
Talking about education, the battle with talking about education, the battle with I can hear them talking, what they really saying. Lyrics they displaying, got the game just decaying. We could go toe to toe, meet me at the weigh-in. I'm already training, meditating, praying, hoping I don't kill y'all. Fuck it, I'ma kill y'all. Shit is getting real, dog. Niggas don't feel y'all. I am like an automatic weapon, I'ma peel off. Round after round, on a tip his whole grill off. Fucking up the traffic, yellow tape still off. Gotta kill the fake, cause they tryna kill the real off. Probably left a print or two. Crime scene investigators gonna wanna interview. They know I put it in you, but I'ma keep quiet. Niggas keep talking. Every time they catch a case, that's how they be walking. I'ma keep stalking all these whack motherfuckers. Put the pressure on them till they change up the tone of they talking. Talking about education, the battle with